I am a Filipino, inheritor of a glorious past, hostage to uncertain future. As such, I must prove equal to a twofold task: the task of meeting my responsibility to the past, and the task of performing my obligation to the future. I sprung from a hardy race, child of many generations, remove of ancient Malayan pioneers. Across the centuries, the memory comes rushing back to me of brown-skinned men putting out to sea in ships that were as frail as their hearts were stout. Over the sea I see them come, borne upon the billowing wave and the whistling wind, carried upon the mighty swell of hope, hope in the free abundance of new land that was to be their home and their children's forever. This is the land they sought and found, every inch of shore in their eyes first set upon, every hill and mountain that beckoned to them with a green-purple invitation, every mile of rolling plain that they viewed and compassed, every river and lake that promises a plentiful living and the fruitfulness of commerce, is a hallowed spot to me. By the strength of their heart and hands, by every right of law, human and divine, this land and all the appurtenances their own, the black and fertile soil, the seas and lakes and rivers teeming with fish, the forests with their exhaustible wealth in wildlife and timber, the mountains with their bowels swollen with minerals. The whole of this rich and happy land has been, for centuries without number, the land of my fathers. This land I receive in trust from them, and in trust will pass it to my children, and so on until the world no more. I am a Filipino. In my blood runs the immortal seed of heroes, seed that flowered down the centuries in deeds of courage and defiance. In my veins yet pulses the same hot blood that sent Lapu-Lapu to battle against the alien foe, that drove Jago Silang and the Gohoy into rebellion against the foreign oppressor. That seed is immortal. It is the self-same seed that flowered in the heart of Jose Rizal that morning in Bagong Bayan, when the volley of shots put an end to all that was mortal of him and made his spirit deathless forever. The same that flowered in hearts of Bonifacio in Balintawak, of Gregorio del Pilar at Tirad Pass, of Antonio Luna at Kalumpit, that bloom in flower of frustration in the sad heart of Emilio Aguinaldo at Palanan, and yet burst forth royally again in the proud heart of Manuel Alquezon, when he stood at last on the threshold of ancient Malacanang Palace, in the symbolic act of possession and racial vindication. The seed I bear within me is an immortal seed. It is the mark of my manhood, the symbol of dignity as a human being. Like the seeds that were once buried in tomb of Tutankhamen many thousand years ago. It shall grow and flower and bear fruit again. It is the ensign of my race, and my generation is but a stage in the unending search of my people for freedom and happiness. I am a Filipino, child of the marriage of the East and the West. The East with its languor and mysticism, its passivity and endurance was my mother, and my sire was the West that came thundering across the seas with the cross and sword and the machine. I am of the East, an eager participant in its struggles for liberation from the imperialist yoke. But I also from the imperialists know that the East must wake from its centuried sleep, shave of the lethargy that has bound his limbs, and start moving where destiny awaits. For I, too, am of the West, and the vigorous people of the West have destroyed forever the peace and quiet that once were ours. I can no longer live being part from this whose world now trembles to the roar of bomb and cannon shot. For no man and no nation is an island, but a part of the main. There is no longer any East and West. Only individuals and nations making those momentous choices that are hinges upon which history resolves. At the vanguard of progress in this part of the world I stand, a forlorn figure in the eye of some, but not one defeated and lost. For through the thick, interlacing branches of habit and custom above me, I have seen the light of the sun, and I know that it is good. I have seen the light of justice and equality and freedom, and my heart has been lifted by the vision of democracy. and I shall not rest until my land and my people shall have been blessed by this, beyond the power of any man or nation to subvert or destroy. I am a Filipino, and this is my inheritance. What pledge shall I give that I may prove worthy of my inheritance? I shall give the pledge that has come, ringing down the corridors of the centuries, and it shall be compounded of the joyous cries of my Malayan forebears when their fair saw the contours of this land loom before their eyes. Of the battle cries that have been resounded in every field of combat from Mactan to Tirad Pass. Of the voices of my people when they sing, land of the morning, child of the sun returning, never shall invaders trample this sacred shore. Out of the lush green of this 7,000 isle, out of the heartstrings of 16 million people all vibrating to one song, I shall weave the mighty fabric of my pledge, out of the song of the farmers at sunrise when they go to labor in the fields, out of the sweat of the hard-beaten pioneers in Malig and Coronadal, out of the silent endurance of stevedores at the pyres and the ominous grumbling of peasants, Pampanga, out of the first cries of babies newly born and the lullabies that mothers sing, out of the crushing of gears and the whine of turbines in the factories, out of the crunch of plows upturning the earth, out of the limitless patience of teachers in the classroom and doctors in the clinic, out of the tramp of soldiers marching, I shall make the pattern of my pledge. I am a Filipino born of freedom, and I shall not rest until freedom shall have been added unto my inheritance, for myself and my children's children forever.